It's time to lay out a massive table for tabletop gaming. I want it to have a great landscape layout as well as buildings and miniatures, but I don't want to have to paint, flock, or 3D print anything to do it. So let's jump in to making this layout happen. Alright, I've been building this table out, and it's finally time to get the trees, buildings, and miniatures on it, so I have something that was easy to make, looks great, and will be fantastic for gaming. If this is your first video on this table build, I do have several other videos about the planning stage, how to make sure your elevation is perfectly modular, and also about making the incised streams, which I think is a very important part of this build. All of that can be found on the channel. I also did a speed build video about putting together a giant shelf full of buildings from battle systems, and they look great. So now it's finally time for the ultimately fun part, seeing how I can put together the landscape, the stand-up trees, all of the buildings and miniatures in order to make a great looking setup and tell a great story. Of course, the high elevation over there on the right side has to have the tower on it. That's the perfect place for a large watchtower. I also wanted the bridge that goes across the stream to be a bit wider than just that stone footbridge that was on the Terra tiles, but fortunately we had built a bridge with battle systems and it was the perfect size to just go over the footbridge, and I think that looks a lot better for this busy area that this table is going to depict. I figure there needs to be a place for the guards to live, so I put out this little cabin over there, though I later do turn it into kind of a peasant hut. This area on the other side of the bridge looked to me like a great place to put some ruins. Perhaps there was some older guard structure here long ago. That wagon and well also came as accessories from battle systems, and especially once I get the fence over there, it will really round out the peasant cottage look. I have these other guard towers from the battle system, and I had the idea that maybe that tower could be right up next to the bridge. We've got this major watchtower over here on the hill, but maybe they're very serious about wanting to be able to stop people from crossing that bridge, so they built another guard tower right up against it. I think this is some kind of lookout tower that I put over there on the hill on the far side. Obviously, this is a very heavily militarized area. Next, I'm just taking the trees and putting them here and there, wherever I think would look good. I tried to make kind of a tree grove over there in the bend of the road on the far side of the table. I had another one of these guard towers, and I had the idea that why don't we make the bridge look even more fortified by putting another tower up next to it. This even made me think that you might be able to join the towers in some kind of other build, as if it's kind of like a mini version of the twins from A Song of Ice and Fire. But clearly they're being serious about being able to stop people from crossing this bridge. I've got a lot of different fences and walls from the Battle Systems pack, and I really think that these go a long way to adding a little extra touch to the table. Setting down some walls and fences as linear obstacles really adds something to it. It gives it that rustic countryside kind of look. If I were building out more terrain myself, I think that place where the hill juts out right there would be a great place to design some type of other custom terrain piece, like maybe even some old willow or some kind of strange tree like that or something. But I do have this other kind of watchtower or outpost or kind of gazebo thing from the Battle Systems pack, and so I went ahead and put that out there. I've also got these gravestones, and so I put them up against the wall on the hill. Maybe that's some place where they bury different guardsmen who have died around here. Since I've got another bridge, I decided I might as well go ahead and put it out on the table since there's quite a bit of streams on the table anyway. Perhaps that's a lesser used bridge that the guards use to go from the main tower over to the auxiliary tower over there. A few more trees here and there, with a few more fences here and there as well, and that basically completes my setup. I think it's looking pretty cool. Now, what about miniatures? I had been wondering what type of miniatures I was going to use on this board, because I have some that are painted up and ready to go, but I have far more miniatures that are unpainted in boxes, and I really didn't want to put unpainted miniatures on this table. But then, Ben Gaming Games recommended in the YouTube comments that I use skinny minis for this table, and of course, that is a great idea. I had backed their Kickstarter for lots and lots of these flat but full color miniatures. All you have to do is punch them out and then slide them into their stands. So now, even the miniatures continue my theme of trying to make this a paint-free gaming table. I went through my Skinny Mini collection and pulled out a bunch of different miniatures that I think could go great on this board. I found a party of dwarves to have coming down the road, and they're being met by a war party of goblins in the woods. A classically eclectic group of adventurers come down the road on the other side, where they are soon to be met by a group of undead who inhabit the ruins. I found guardsmen who stand watch at the tower, and they are under attack by a band of kobolds. The spirits of the dead are also restless in the cemetery as this great-looking ghost rises to haunt it. A gallant band of knights takes up position on the bridge to deny a war party of hobgoblins passage. I also added some trolls in the swamp and one over by the bridge, because what bridge in an environment like this wouldn't be home to a troll? I also had an owlbear miniature, and so I had to stick it on the table as well. So there you go. I think this table is proof that you don't have to be deep into 3D printing or handcrafting or be an expert painter in order to have a great looking setup for your table. Of course, it all does depend on what you want. I could have a great time scratch building and painting up lots of pieces of terrain, and I will eventually get into 3D printing. I certainly could have spent weeks or probably even months building out this board from scratch, painting it, flocking it, adding water effects, and all of that, and it would have looked fantastic. But if I had done all of that, would it have added that much extra fun to the gaming table? Would the amount of extra fun it adds really have been worth the effort? To me, probably not. I would rather use that time to make 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 or 5 tables like this of different locations and environments, rather than trying to build out what I've got here in even more detail. And plus, now doing more setups with this environment will be even faster and easier because I already have this base set of modular terrain for it. So that's my table. I hope you like it. If you do, likes and comments and subscriptions on the channel are very much appreciated. If you want some Terra tiles for your table, I'm re-releasing them through GameFound. I'll put a link to the page down below. You can check out the draft page and learn all there is to know about the new sets. And also, please come by my channel. I've got many other videos on gaming and fantasy, all organized by playlist. So come by, check out a topic you like, and enjoy some videos. I'll see you in many more videos to come, and until then, happy gaming.